many of the affected villages were. We spoke to some local volunteers, some local organizations, who kind of guided us and mentioned some affected areas in Kharpur district that we still had some severe flooding. Being on the field and visiting, we took a drive to visit these areas, and we hit a dead end in the road. The road that we were supposed to take in order to visit a specific village that we were told was very flooded was completely flooded with water. We met some local volunteers on the ground who were from that specific village. They guided us to the area where they were from and told us that the only means of transportation to these areas would be to get on a tractor because many of the areas were severely isolated. Water was still all over, completely flooded in this village. So we got on the tractor. The water was probably between 3 to 5 feet in depth. I was completely surprised to see that so long after the flooding, there were still several villages that were completely flooded and people that were still living in their homes completely isolated. We took a drive on the tractor. Again, the water was extremely deep. There were certain areas we couldn't even get to because they were so deep and the tractor couldn't pass those areas. Seeing families, children, people still isolated in their homes, some who haven't eaten, no meals for days because they're unable to get through, was extremely heartbreaking. Thinking about what needed to be done and what the priority was, we realized that removing the waters from these affected areas was definitely the first step so people would be able to move freely, would be able to maybe go access food. And so we started with that. We spoke with many local volunteers from many different villages and collaborated and gathered a team of about 500 local volunteers and organized a plan to be able to pump out the water from these villages. This specific area, Thirmi, was about 80 to 100 villages that we said we would take on. Friday was our first official day. We took on 4 villages. Most of the water is completely gone. It's receded towards the end, so it's been very successful. But at the same time, there's still so much more that needs to be done. I would like to show you guys some of the scenery and what exactly we experienced when we were on the ground. So I'm going to have you see this.
लाइट क्लोज ना करवा लो। हाँ बहुत ज़्यादा चल जाएगा। लाइट क्लोज ना कर लें थोड़ी। ये हाँ गुड हो गया। ठीक है।
Over here you can see, some people from these families that are in the river. You can see how deep it is. Behind there, again, houses, more homes that are completely destroyed. So where are they sitting on top of the house? They're sitting on top of the house. So maybe there's a way we can at least deliver food to them? Yeah, we can deliver food to them. People fear a second wave. You can see that there's still water here. Diseases such as malaria, gastro, dengue are huge concerns at the moment. So we just got back from the village. Biggest priority obviously is pumping the water out. Second is meals for the families. They have absolutely nothing to eat, or some kind of dry food, grains, things like that, where we can deliver that to their homes. So obviously priority is bringing everything back to normal, pumping out the water, and then hopefully agriculture. There is also a dire need for food. You can see all these pots here. So we'll actually be providing 1,500 meals to the local community. So today is our first official day that we are going to be pumping water out of the villages. It will take approximately 72 hours, so that's approximately 3 days. We have 2 villages that we're starting with, about 80 more to go. We need all the support that we can get. What's important for me is to be able to bring awareness to this matter because I think so many people are completely unaware of the situation. And internationally, it is unknown that areas are still flooded. So obviously this is something that is an extremely great task, and we need all of the help that we can get. The idea for us is to focus on removing and pumping out water from these 80 to 100 villages in this district. And then, of course, tending to the second phase, which would be stopping the spread of waterborne illnesses such as malaria, dengue. Food is a huge concern at this moment. Most of the people in this area are farmers. Agriculture, tending to crops, many livestock deaths have occurred. So this would be the next phase once all of the water is removed. Thank you. And I don't know if anybody else would like to say anything.
I am Abdul from national website World. I want to know what type of hurdles you face to reach out in remote areas, and second, what type of support you got from the government organizations.
Yes, I'm going to have my director here in Pakistan answer these questions.
Thank you very much. The support that we were getting from the government, like obviously nothing is possible in this country or any country without the support of the government. I am really very much thankful to our central government and the provincial government and the district administration. They helped us a lot, especially the Ombudsman office, Mr. Ali Muniam Zeri, who is the consultant of Ombudsman office. He went with us. He went to survey with us and he wanted to help us, and he helped us big.
Joseph, you want to say something? Introduce yourself.
तो जो वहाँ के हालात हैं वो तो मेरे ख्याल में एक जैसे कहेंगे युवावस्था, तो अभी काफ़ी कोशिशों से गवर्नमेंट की कोशिशें हैं उनसे पानी निकल चुका है, लेकिन फिर भी 40-50% जमीन पानी के नीचे है। मेरा तो जहाँ मैंने काम किया उनसे काफ़ी रास्ता दूर है, लेकिन दूर से भी हमें पता चलता है कि सफर में क्या हो रहा है। मैंने काफ़ी अच्छा काम किया और मैं वहाँ मेरे जो कलीग्स थे वो बता रहे थे, तो मैं पिछले देखने भी गया था, तो वहाँ पर मुझे काफ़ी अच्छाई नजर आ रही है। तो मैं चाहूँगा कि ऐसे इदारे हमारे पाकिस्तान में काम करें जिससे कि जो मुश्किल वक्त है उसमें हमारी मदद हो और कम से कम लोगों को जीने का जो वक्त है वो हम सब मिल के गुजार सकें और मामून मुश्किल वक्त में सभी लोग काम आते हैं। अभी तो यही है कि हम काफ़ी बेहतर कर चुके हैं, लेकिन अभी गुंजाइश बहुत ज़्यादा है। पूरा स्ट्रक्चर तबाह हो चुका है, आपकी कम्युनिकेशन तबाह हो चुकी है, आपके स्कूल्स हेल्थ की फैसिलिटी जो है जहाँ पर हेल्थ मिलनी थी वहाँ पर पानी दो मेरे हल्के में तो कई स्टेट हैं कि 18 फुट पानी खड़ा है। ये नामुमकिन आप समझ कुछ यकीन नहीं आएगा, लेकिन हम चिंता करते हैं कि यहाँ क्या पोषण है। तो उनकी जो कोशिशें हैं और उन्होंने जो काम किया है उसको कराते हैं और एहतराम पेश करते हैं, और हम ये भी चाहेंगे कि इनके जो डायरेक्टर हैं के उनको अलग से हम अपने इलाके को दिखाएँ कि वहाँ पर भी देखें वहाँ पर क्या काम की ज़रूरत है। और क्योंकि आज से 2 आदमी बनते हैं तभी जाकर ताकत बनती है, तभी हमारा काम चलेगा इंशाल्लाह। आप लोगों के जो प्रेस है वो भी काफ़ी उन्होंने काम किया है, प्रेस में हमेशा मुश्किल वक्त में सब चीज़ों को आवेदन किया है, दिखाया है, तो उसकी वजह से ये लोग यहाँ पहुँचते हैं। तो प्रेस के ऊपर काफ़ी और भी ड्यूटीज हैं कि वो सिंध और बलोचिस्तान को जो राष्ट्र नुकसान है उसको और आवेदन करें, क्योंकि हमारा कहने के पड़ोसी जो बलोचिस्तान में इसको काफ़ी नुकसान हुआ है। और जो मेरा हल्का है वहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा बारिश हुई, 48 घंटे सबसे बारिश हुई, 1800 मिलीमीटर, जो सिंध गवर्नमेंट और पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट का बहुत बड़ी निकाला है वहाँ पर 1800 मिलीमीटर बारिश हुई। और वैसे तो अगर 2 महीने में देखा काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, 1 दिन की बात है। फिर अल्लाह हमें इस मुश्किल से निकालेगा और आपके पास कानून होगा, साथ होगा, प्रोग्राम का कानून बहुत काम का है। आप ही ये चीज़ें एक्सपोज करते हैं, योजना पहुँचती हैं, तभी जाके ये लोग यहाँ बड़ी बात है।
Ma'am, one question. Do you have a future plan to spend something, some time and some also resources in Pakistan? Because this disaster time is not has not been ended yet. So, do you have future plan to spend some time and some also resources in affected areas also?
Our focus now, the areas that we visited were in Concord district between 80 to 100 villages. So I think right now the main focus and priority is pumping water out from these villages. Many of the local volunteers on the ground that are helping us are from these villages. So we're all working together to make sure that we get this complete. Future plans, of course this is something that's a great task. So regarding resources and things along that line, it's something that is very difficult. So once we get through that phase, I think we'll develop a plan, hopefully be able to target the next PG, which will be our second phase, and that'll be combating, illnesses, the spread of illnesses, waterborne, such as malaria, dengue, and hopefully within that time, also the management of, the need for food. There's so much food that's needed, and again, many of these villages, the majority are farmers, and they've lost their form of work. So I think that hopefully will be our second phase once we finish priority, which is pumping up the water from these villages.
Thank you.
What was your inspiration behind this day you are doing home for the humanity? What was the inspiration behind this cause?
Yeah, so I started in 2014 during the Syrian civil war helping refugees that fled to a refugee camp in Jordan. And so that was my first humanitarian mission. And so since then, I would volunteer, 2 weeks every 2 months, but realized that, in order to really make big change, you needed to have an organization, and that would be the way to really develop projects and be able to target more people. So that's what inspired me to continue, and then in 2019, I started the organization, Team Humanity USA. And with that, it's been really amazing. We've done really, really great things. And our focus, of course, is always emergency crisis. So any area that we see is really suffering or any form of crisis that's occurred, we try our best to really get there and see if we either provide temporary emergency relief or sustain something long term.
Thank you.